Hi YouTube, welcome in. We are watching the second part to Internet Historian's fancy series. Too Fancy, Too Furious. Wine. I have no idea what this video is or what it means. I know nothing of wine, so I'm hoping we can learn a little bit today. I hope you guys have fun. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and we're going to jump straight into it. This video, is a journalistic in nature. Feel free to react to these videos, but please wait 40
Come here,
hours,
little
okay?
fella. I want to tell you a secret. I'm just like you.
Are you? Hell yeah, I guess.
We're both down here in the dirt. Mine just happens to be imported.
YouTube, ignore chat.
You are fighting in traffic, and I am fighting charges of trafficking. We're so similar.
What the fuck?
You're working a 9-to-5 job, and I am having to look at that. We're both going through it.
Are we now?
So don't
I
hate
don't believe
me.
you.
I'm not the problem.
You are.
It's the wine snobs.
Who
They're the
are the
ones
wine
that
snobs?
look down on you. And frankly, I don't blame them.
Okay.
No.
Pop
he's
off,
learning.
queen.
Listen, let me pull you up by your bootstraps. What if I made you my little Pygmalion? That's a
The what?
reference that
The
you
what?
wouldn't get.
I don't get it.
You know what? Perhaps I shall make a series of videos that will give you some sort of clue about fancy things.
Yes, please.
Yes, that's what I'll do. Something to give you just enough information to bluff your way through a fancy dinner.
Did you know that Da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa?
Somebody had to hold open the gates for the barbarians. Why not me? So let's do it. Let's look at
Wine. Yummy.
the Mountain Dew
Get the
of upper
Vinky?
society. With wine,
If you like dog
there is
shit
only
content,
one
please
rule.
subscribe.
Yeah.
Kill
Please
or
subscribe.
be killed. And if you want to survive the night,
Do
here
I?
are 6 things you should know about wine.
Tell me the stuff about wine. I know nothing of wine. I don't particularly
To you
enjoy
muggles,
wine.
The words on these bottles must seem like a mystery.
Yep, they sure are.
ire.
But us landlords, we, the pink Himalayan salt of the earth, we know what they mean. They are grape names.
Grape
Look upon
names,
this
let's go.
grapevine. It makes grape berries. Now, there are many different species of grape berry,
Oh.
and whatever the berry species is will determine the type of wine. This is Chardonnay, so it will make Chardonnay. Merlot grapes, they make Merlot wine.
Technically a
Grape
little
names
more.
are
Okay.
mostly French. Gross. But for example, in English, Pinot Noir means black pine, because it kinda looks like a black pine cone if you squint. Here's some of the other names. You can pause it. I'm busy. Wine grapes are not
Yay,
like
thank
the
you
kind you
for
get at the
that.
supermarket. Those are table grapes. You can think of it kind of like the difference between cooking chocolate and regular chocolate. You can
Okay.
eat them. Ugh. But they're overly sugary and kind of full of seeds and just not as nice to snack on. So the grape type is the main word on the bottle, but sometimes there are other words as well.
Tell me
For
what the other words
example,
mean.
this Bourgogne. What the hell is a
Bourgogne.
Chablis? It's all
Chablis?
regions.
Oh, okay.
Allow me to explain through the medium of song. There's Chianti and Piedmont, also there's Burgundy. Don't forget Chablis Bordeaux. This one's from Italy, this one's from Italy, this one's from France, this one's from France, this one's from France, this one's from France. They're all from France. We're Italy. Look, the general rule
I was
is,
getting
if you
into
see a
it.
term
Go
you
back to
don't
singing.
understand, it's probably just the French or the Italians being all la-dee-da about their particular region. All right,
Okay.
let's move on to price. Come on, I know a place. We're here. I can tell by the name on the sign. Now, don't embarrass me, I didn't bring my ID.
Animaniacs
Fiddle-dee-dee,
reference.
look
I
at
love
all these
Animaniacs.
bottles. So many options. Ooh, a cheeky $200 bottle. And here, a $20 bottle.
What the
Now, I bet this $200 bottle tastes way better, right? Like it's got to be 10 times better than this one. That's
You
just
would
basic
think.
math. Go on, though. You choose one. Oh, no. Well, it was supposed to be a trick question, but they both taste pretty similar, right?
Yeah.
There's not some threshold that you get to where it gets more expensive and then it tastes better, and then more expensive again and it tastes even better, until it gets so expensive and so incredible that it's like nothing you've ever had before.
That's a disturbing
Break through the
picture.
conditioning. This is just old grape juice.
Old grape juice with
Now,
yeast.
if you're a little bi-curious about a more expensive bottle, sure, why not?
Gold letters grace the label, hand engraved by goldsmiths. Famed wine critics described the taste as mind-boggling.
But realistically, after about $60, the flavor doesn't get much better. In fact, it plateaus out and it can even go down. The best quality to price ratio is all the way over here,
How many
much
people
lower,
in chat are wine
about
drinkers? 'Cause
20
I am not
bucks.
one.
That's how much you should spend on a bottle of wine. Now, some people will say,
that I'm putting my heart and soul into this thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm making an art, a form of art. How much is that worth? How much is art worth?
about 20 bucks. Ah, but what about the vintage? Well, look at this. A couple of cromulent slender necks. And they're the same price as well. But this one is from 2019, and this one is from 2022. Well, surely the older one is the better one, right? No. Many people think that the wine aging goes like this, and the flavor just keeps getting better over time. Wrong, wrong, wrong.
Oh, we gotta pause. We gotta pause. Chlorophyte, thank you for the follow. Oh my god, we just hit our follower goal. How fucking yeah, let's go. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Yippee. Hi, Steve. Ah, we hit our follower goal. It's actually been set for a while, so I'm very excited that we hit it. Welcome in. Ah. All right, anyway, we're gonna go back to the video. Woo, follower goal. I'm very excited.
The wine at the store has already been aged at the winery. I don't need to be more aged by sitting on
What did we hit? 12? We hit 3,500. 12.5? What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm confused. Eesh. Someone unfold ASAP. No! Don't do it! Please, no! I will miss you if you do. Anyway, back to this.
on this shelf and just collecting dust. Or
Somebody
spending years
actually
at the back
unfollowed.
of your pantry at home. If I'm for sale, I'm ready to be consumed. I'm ready to have your hot lips wrapped around me. In fact, the general rule goes a cork bottle should be drunk within 5
Steve,
years
thank you for
and a
the
capped bottle within 1 year. Come, there's more. Let's pretend I am a waiter at a restaurant. You happen to be wearing a shirt, and so I have mistaken you as a paying customer. As a waiter, the first thing I will press you about will be food pairings. White wine
Food
with
pairings.
fish? A Merlot with pork? Well, kid, I'm gonna have to pair this truth nugget with something you don't want to hear.
Oh my god, truth
The
nugget. I'd
food
kill for a
pairing
good crispy
doesn't
chicken
really
nugget.
matter. It's all
Oh.
completely subjective. It's cuisine by horoscope. It's food astrology. Pay no attention
that
to the
true?
sommeliers in the comment section. They are bullshitting to upsell.
Get the more expensive one. It goes better with the spaghetti.
Or they are a Pisces and you shouldn't trust their opinion anyway. Something else to expect at a restaurant? Expect to get ripped off by the markup.
Oh,
Most
yeah, hell yeah.
restaurants add a
So much markup.
250 to 300% markup on their wine. And
Holy
the
hell.
cheaper the bottle, the higher the proportional markup tends to be. So a $20 bottle will turn into an $80 bottle, but a $100 bottle may only rise to $150. Most people get the second cheapest bottle on the menu, regardless of the pairing, and that'll do just fine. And that's it. No more tips. Unless you want to leave me one.
I'll give you a tip,
Actually, you know what? I got a fucking
give you
tip
a
for
tip,
you,
baby
mate.
girl.
Ad time.
At time!
I bet you're
Hell yeah.
wondering how I got this cog in my knee.
Sure, I did.
That's because I became the face of
That's why I never go out for
the
drinks.
service that
Wait,
helps you
wait,
be
how I don't
forgotten
give
on
it-
the
give it out.
internet.
Hey,
I
yo.
used to be a humble florist.
Yeah, Steve, wanna go
One
get a
day
drink?
we
We'll get
received a
drinks.
shipment of forget-me-nots.
I'm being sussy, you're being
But
sussy, chat.
inexplicably I fell in.
Hospice,
and
Zilla,
ate
thank
a
you for the
bunch of
follow. Welcome in.
I forgot everything that day. My address, my web browsing habits, where I worked, what my child's face looked like. I was supposed to pick him up from daycare, so that was kind of embarrassing. I just picked one of the kids that kind of looks like me.
Oui, monsieur.
Close enough. Have you ever signed up for some dodgy website? Have you ever dodged up for a legitimate website and they sell all your details onto a dodgy website?
Yeah.
That's where I come in.
100%.
Incogni man and Anonyboy.
Je ne parle anglais pas.
There are data miners out there, data collectors, creating big servers all
Y'all ever get
around the
random
world.
emails?
They take your name, your address, and your
Y'all ever
IP.
get random emails like,
Together
yeah,
they make a big
our
profile,
website was
and that
breached,
lives
your
forever.
information was leaked, and you're
I
like,
am here
oh.
to send them
Okay, I
annoying
guess that
legal
happens.
notices
I've gotten a couple of
to tell
those
them
in
to
my lifetime.
fuck off. Take Steve off your database. European law this.
Steve, you get taken
American
off the database.
law that. Go to incogni.com/internethistorian to get 60% off an annual plan. The cog signal. I swoop into the data centers. Legal notice. Tangle up their processes with admin.
volcano.
Who are you? I don't know. Oh,
What
wait a
is
minute.
this ad? Hello?
Inganokni Nam. Go to incogni.com/internethistorian.
Yay.
Ah, Incogni man. Remember me? Yes. No. Who's the kid?
Je suis très affamé, monsieur, s'il vous plaît.
Whoa, that's a good deal.
What the hell is this
Ad over.
ad?
Welcome to the wine underground. We have our meetings here because it stays at a very pleasant temperature.
Hell
You
yeah.
know, us wine masons, we control everything. We are few, but many. That doesn't make sense. Look at the back of this bottle. See the No Fat Chicks logo?
What?
We put that there. It is the symbol of our organization. We have a dirty finger in every glass of government and
Ugh.
corporation
Don't
stuff.
describe it like
If you
that,
cross
bro.
us.
My brother in
Whoops.
Christ.
Perhaps you'll
Keep
have
your
a little
dirty fingers
accident.
into
Last year,
yourself.
little upstart tried to make wine actually taste good. You know, like how grape soda does. Cut him up so good he had to get stitches. We caught one reporter trying to dig around into our operations. We all know how that one ended. With an airstrike. All right, my little juice box. I'm going to let you in on a secret. Why is champagne called champagne? Well, I'll tell you. It all began in 1668.
Hell yeah,
In the
educate
Abbey
me.
of St. Peter in northeast France, there's something spooky going on.
Ooh. Is this
It's
Thriller?
springtime, and in the cellar where they keep all the wine, bottles would suddenly, unexpectedly, explode. Now, this was especially common during morning mass. Ho, that's a bad omen. Sometimes the explosions would cause little chain reactions, and bottle after bottle would break down the line,
Charge
ruining
producing story
the majority
alcohols,
of the
sometimes
crop.
ceremony purposes.
The peasants
Oh, I
were
didn't get to read it
frightened
all.
and also parched.
Sacre Bleu, lay wine. What is happening?
The monks would refer to this as the devil's wine.
Lay wine is cursed.
Le God, he must be anger at us. We need a hero.
In walks Don
We need a hero.
Perignon.
Oh my God.
He is just the man for the job. A Benedictine monk at the abbey. He's got a new role, the cellar master. And it's his mission to find out what the hell is going on here. So Don starts looking at all the bottles. And what he figures out pretty quickly is that the wine itself is releasing gas. The gas builds up pressure and... why that is happening, he doesn't know. But it's his job to stop it. So he gets to work, trying all sorts of things to stop his mortal enemy. The bubbles.
The bubbles.
In the
yeah.
first year, he tried insisting that only the youngest grapes be picked.
Perhaps this will stop your bubbles.
And it didn't. The next year, he changed up how the grapes were pressed.
Push harder, we'll squeeze out the bubbles.
Son of a bitch. He tried picking the grapes very early in the morning and no other time. Nope. And on and on. The bubbles would win the battle every year. For 8 long years, he tried
That's a
all
really
sorts
long
of
time to
different
try to
things,
figure out how to make gas stop exploding your bottles.
and no strategy worked. No, the bubbles. Eventually, he was at the point of almost giving up. Until one day, hey, what if the wine is still fermenting? So he takes a couple of the bottles and he opens them and, it is. We ferment the wine. Once it's done, it goes into the bottle. How does it then start fermenting again? How is that possible? And here the mystery was solved. So it turns out in North France they have very fast changing seasons, and owing to that, the yeast doesn't actually get time to do its job. Instead, it would get cold very quickly in the winter, and all the yeast would go dormant. Then the winemakers would go, oh brilliant, fermentation slowed down, it must be done. They would then bottle it and they would store it. But once summer came back around, the process would spring back to life.
It took
and
them
carbon
8 years
dioxide
to
would
realize
build up
this?
And okay, he thinks, I cannot change the climate. Perhaps I shall not win the war against the bubbles. Now, the bubbles are his enemy, and he has another enemy. The English. Therefore, the enemy of his enemy or something. Anyway, he starts talking to the English, and he goes, hey, how do you guys stop your bottles from exploding? And the British go,
You what, mate? Core! Well, peep at how thin the bloody glass be in it. Thin glass is the problem. Thank you for using this text-to-speech preview. For a paid version, please go to...
See, the English have created new coal-fired bottles with much thicker glass. Then they put a cork in the top, and it allows them to make very foamy beer. That's right, he could just use thicker bottles and he won't have to worry about stopping the bubbles at all. So Dom goes running back to France. He's panting, he's sweating, and there's bits of brie on his shirt. He's going, better bottles, better bottles. Everyone's confused and terrified, but they give it a shot. And there it was. The people of France loved it.
I
Good
love
job.
this new style.
Even the French royals were enjoying new wine, TM. He even started adding extra yeast and sugar to really get the bubbles going. And so Dom Perignon had created what we call today champagne. Now, there's a 19th century marketing campaign that says the moment he uncorked his champagne for the first time, he tried it and said, come quickly, I am tasting the stars.
Wow.
But that's actually a myth.
so
He
good.
never
Huh?
really said that. But there's still a problem. And this one, Dom cannot fix. The pulp. If you bottle wine while it's still fermenting, so that you can keep the bubbles in, you're also trapping in a bunch of dead yeast and debris and gross particles too.
That sounds foul.
Also, it's all cloudy. No, we want it clear. We want it crystal looking. How will we ever solve this problem? Dom dies.
Oh, rip.
1805, in walks Madame Clicquot. She's just the man for the job.
I'm also French. I have come to remove all the little bits. I will clench my teeth together and go pitou back into the bottle.
Now,
Ew.
Madame Clicquot was a very shrewd lady. Her husband died when she was in her early 20s,
My husband
That
is
sounds
dead.
foul. Please tell me you didn't actually do
and
that.
part of the estate she was bequeathed included a winery. She immediately got to work, making it into a successful business.
I shall invent a process called lay riddling.
Here's what you do, right? You put these bottles on a rack at a 35-degree angle with the top facing down. Every 2 days, she would give the bottle a little shake and slightly increase the angle. After 8 to 10 weeks, all of the sediment would come to rest in the neck of the bottle.
Okay.
Right, quick tangent. Did you know that when you increase the salt concentration in water, you can drop its temperature down much lower without it freezing?
Yes, I did know
Tangent
that actually.
over. So she takes this sub-zero salt water and dips the neck of the bottle in there. Then lets it sit until the neck freezes. Now you have a sort of frozen cork filled with all of the gross pulp, and then you simply pop off the top. And the whole thing goes shooting out as a fun prank for your friends and family. Then they add in a
that's a good
little more
prank.
extra base wine and sugar and leave it to age. And with that, Clicquot has just created a clear, sparkling wine. And that is Ridley. And Madame Clicquot is...
The Riddler.
Perfect.
So Dom Perignon and Madame Clicquot are both credited as the godfather and godmother of champagne. Today, the Dom and Clique brands are owned by LVMH, the same parent company that owns Louis Vuitton, Tag Heuer, Tiffany & Co., Hennessy. Actually, pretty much every luxury brand. But
Oh,
why
nice.
is it called champagne. Well, that's because it comes from the Champagne region, you dummy. And anything else with bubbles is just sparkling wine.
Oh.
Oh, it's you. I was just looking out over the sunset. You know how it is. Thinking about
Sunset's
stuff
so pretty.
that happened in the past. I remember
Why
it
you
all
sound
too well.
constipated?
It was literally 1984. I was walking home with my parents from the opera.
Come on, keep up. We're nearly there.
Hey, let's take
Is
a
he
little
entering
shortcut,
his
they
Batman
said.
phase? What is
Cut
happening?
through here.
We were walking down a well-lit alleyway. It was nothing but quaint restaurants and bistros.
Squints.
Then suddenly, a man holding a bottle of Shiraz came out of nowhere. "Just a tipple," he said. I was terrified. I knew nothing about wine. "Go on," he said. My hands were shaking, knees weak, arms heavy. Complex
there
aroma,
vomit on your
wouldn't you
sweater
say?
already? Mom spaghetti?
Very good tannins. Oh, really? Yep. What's a tannin? I don't know.
What is
My
a tenant?
parents died from embarrassment right there on the spot.
As they should. You're an embarrassment.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
Just a tipple, tipple, tipple. It's too late for me, but I don't want the same thing to happen to you. That's why we have to learn about how to serve wine.
Yay! How do I serve wine?
So you've bought a bottle of wine to show your friends and family how successful and sophisticated you are. Did you know that Da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa?
Yes.
So let's
Da
go
Vinci
through
did,
how
in
to
fact,
serve the
paint
big
Mona Lisa.
three. White, red, and champagne. Let's say you've bought champagne. That bottle goes in the fridge. Champagne is served cold always.
Okay.
To open, peel off the foil and do not aim it at your face. Then twist off the metal thing. If you want people to think you're fancy, use the proper word, muselet.
Muselet.
It helps to contain the
Muselet.
pressure. Again, don't aim this thing at your face. It's really
Why?
worth
I hear
repeating.
so many people aiming
the
this thing at this
PSI
face.
inside a champagne bottle is 70 to 90. That puts it in the
That's
same
crazy.
league as a nail gun. So the cork comes out at about 50 miles an hour. And if you're in a house, you want to hold onto it very firmly with your hand. If you're Bezos, or you just won the Grand Prix, fling it over some ladies. But if you want to be really
Ew.
fancy, you
Why
can
did it
use
sound like that?
a sword. This has been a tradition for a couple hundred years, popularized by Napoleon. After each victory, the army would use their sabers to crack one open for the boys. But the sword's just ceremonial. You can use pretty much any blunt object to knock off the top. A phone, a
Oh, yeah.
shoe, this fish head. If it's
Oh, what the
cold,
fuck?
it shouldn't fizz over too much, but you might want to have someone on the side with a ready glass. The glass type should either be a tulip or a flute.
Ooh.
Although, if you've seen The Great Gatsby, you may notice that they use these. Up until the mid-1900s, people used coupes. That's because, back in the day, excessive effervescence wasn't very cool. So these cups helped actually dispel the bubbles faster. In fact, sometimes they'd even use a small whisk or a fork to dissipate all the bubbles. Now, there's
That's
actually
so
an
lame.
old
I
myth
love
that the
carbonated
shape
drinks.
and size of the coupe
like the
was
bubblies.
molded from one of Marie Antoinette's buboes. But it's probably not true.
Interesting myth, I guess.
Eventually, bubbles became a fancy feature, so the flute was adopted. They can be made from glass, but preferably they're made from crystal, so that they shimmer as much as possible. And the best flutes would also feature a small rough spot right there at the center of the glass at the bottom to create a sort of tornado of bubbles. Anyway,
Oh, that's
as
actually
you
really
pour,
cool.
tilt sideways so it isn't all head, and don't pour more than 2/3 full. Done. White wine.
We're getting so fancy, chat.
White wine is
Look at
best
us.
served chilled too. 10 to 15 degrees though, not fridge cold. Use a small glass bowl and pour to about half full. And when you drink, do a little sniff test and, aerate it a bit. Then hold it down low on the stem so your hands don't heat up the liquid. If it's not to your taste, cut it with 50% Sprite and add a few ice cubes. Done. Reds.
That actually doesn't sound that bad.
Red
I'd try
wine
that.
is not chilled. It is served at room temperature. When you first
I can't
open
do room
it, you're supposed to
temperature,
let
it's
it
gotta be
sit
hot
for
or
a
it's
while
gotta be
to
ice cold.
oxidize. That gives it more flavor. Although if you
Does
don't
it?
want to wait, you can just pour it into a decanter. That does the same thing. To drink from, we want a big bowl on a stick, so you get a full face of the aromas of the grape blood. When you pour the thing, fill it about 1/3 full. That's pretty much it. However, when it comes to wine snobbery, red wine snobbery is at the top of the Maslow hierarchy.
Crushed white rock. It's like almost like a rock quarry.
Oh my God, shut up. And there's a taste testing thing that people do, and it'll go a bit mental, and it's kind of gross, and it looks dumb. But if you think you're ready for the ultimate test, ready to take the one-chip challenge of enology,
Yeah,
then
let's
here's
do
how
it.
you do it. When the waiter comes over, insist on taking a teensy sample. Inspect for color, clarity, and legs. Legs refers to how viscous the wine is.
That's
Smell
gross.
it. Smells like a red wine. Swirl it around on the table, making a loud scratching noise so that everyone knows you're a connoisseur.
Swirling the wine glass is almost like turning up the volume on the stereo.
When you taste it, you're supposed to get it over every part of your mouth, so that when you brush your teeth later, it's awful. Then take in big sips of air. This is where you comment on the texture and taste. Complex,
This
no!
is
You yell across the room.
interesting
Now
thing.
this is the best part. You can just make shit up about vanilla smatterings or citrusy undercurrents. I swear, there's a hint of blueberry. It's one of those things that's kinda true, but subjective enough that no one can really refute you. So make a big show of it.
There is a little bit of an earthiness, almost a graphite clay note to this.
Graphite clay. Why would you drink if it tasted like graphite or clay?
There are definitely hints here of Monster Ultra sugar-free. If this
That's
is a
the
taste
best
test
Monster.
and you're sampling dozens of wines, you want to spit out the sample into this gross bucket so you don't get too drunk. Do not ask the waiter if you can drink from the bucket. It's the waiter's privilege, and he's very protective of it. And that is how to serve wine. Okay, that's a lot of shitting on wine, people.
And we shouldn't get bullied.
You should.
But let me do a quick 180.
No, you shouldn't. Don't bully the
Because
wine drinkers.
overall, wine is good. And a little wine snobbery can be good also.
I haven't found a wine that I like.
Being into wine is one of the great dad hobbies. One day you will have a model train set in your basement, complete with a little walking path
Model
and the
trains are
grass
dope,
just
though.
right. The best part about this hobby is building the thing, getting it just perfect, and then making people sit there while you explain the little trains in excruciating detail of how they work.
I'd listen 10 out of 10.
Now, the fun of Warhammer, that's when you save up for the little space marine man, you take him out of the packet, you put on a podcast with some Warhammer in the background,
Of all the Primarchs, Horus is the best kisser.
and you slowly paint it yourself. And then you argue with your mates later about why the Necrophiles are the best race. There are people that spend like tens of thousands of dollars on coffee machines and equipment. And then it takes like an hour to make a coffee, and it's like only 5% better maybe than the ones you get at the cafe. Now I could be Mr. Killjoy and come in and go, what's the point of that? Why not just buy it from the cafe? Why not just get a pre-painted Space Marine? Why not have someone else just install the train set? But then there's no ceremony, there's no fun, there's no hobby.
Thank you for
Wine is
reason.
very similar. They're getting a little bit too obsessive about the thing and being like,
Some lemon zest as well, lemon pith.
Oh, fuck, it's
super
pith.
tangy.
is the purpose of wine. It's the fun of wine, which is why wine is better than just some old grape juice. And you
I like
fucking
grape
wine
juice.
loser snobs, you know what? You're all right.
Woo.
And that's about it. There's just one last thing left.
Okay.
The practical. Come on, my little nouveau biche. I booked out a whole restaurant. They serve some of the best blue whale caviar here. All right, you did it. You sat through the whole video without
I sure
crying.
did.
I think this calls for a toast. Steady now. Whoop.
Rest in peace, waiter bozo.
Uh-oh.
What is
I can't believe you killed again. But it's okay. I feel like we're becoming close friends who can keep secrets and stuff. And because we're such close friends, I'm gonna keep teaching you things. That's right. You're gonna be just like me.
Do I want to be, though?
I just cannot tell which of this is blood and which wine. By the way, this is the second video. If you haven't seen the first one, which is on Fancy at the Theater,
okay,
go look at it over
I
here.
already watched that one.
But there's also Fancy, the Arts on Incognito. That's already live, and there's the next Incognito on its way. Do not forget story mode. Do not forget Incogni. And do not forget to dream.
Okay, whatever. Thank you guys for watching with me. If you'd like to see the next part, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, YouTube. Bye-bye. Love you. Mwah. How the fuck is that pronounced?
79.
Did I just get fucking hit with a D's nuts joke in a different language? Are you fucking serious?
79.